ahead and record this. So, as far as research, there's a variety of ways that you guys can go about it. I'm going to show you what my proposals look like, just so you guys can get an idea and why I do find so much fun in it, because I put a lot of time and effort in it, right? I really showcase things to allow my clients to visualize themselves in each option. So if you have attended my consultation training, if you're aware of how I kind of do things, I always give my clients three options, all right? Good, better, and best. So good, better, and best is really just a price point, and I let them know that in the consultation. It's not so much that the best option is truly the best option, right? It's really just the price point to allow people to see what they can get for the budget, right? Sometimes people have higher expectations, they want things, and then when you present them with what they want and they're like, yeah, that's not it. And it's like, well, that you need to increase your budget or you need to change some of your preferences. So that's what we're really going to cover today. We are not going to address multi-city proposals. Those are done very, very differently for me. To give you guys a little bit of a rundown, multi-city is really, I like to get an itinerary locked in before I even propose anything, right? So I'll probably do a training in the future, probably in the next month about that, a pop-up training, because that is a very complex proposal in my opinion. But that, then you have cruises, right? So the one we're going to go over today is more so all inclusives, but cruises are done the same way, right? How I propose, if it's not multi-city, it's done in the same way. And I think that's really much it. We'll touch base periodically, like I said, and at the end of the hour, I will go ahead and open it up for a Q&A for any questions that are not addressed. So please make sure if something pops up in your head during the time we have today to notate it somewhere on the side so that you don't forget and that you can check it off and make sure that it has been addressed. And if not, wait until the very end to make sure that it is addressed, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. If you hear some noise, we have a cleaning lady. So she's upstairs. She'll probably pop in down here, but I told her to hold off on the vacuum cleaner for now. All right. So can you guys see my Facebook page? I'm going to go to my Travel Joy in a second. But before we hop into Travel Joy, what are you using to give your proposals? Like, what's your platform? Mine is Travel Joy, but do you use Travel Joy? Do you use Travefy? Do you use a Word template? What are you using to give your proposals? Throw it in the chat. Canva template, okay. Travel Joy, you used to use Google Docs, okay. Travefy, now you use Canva and deliver them over the phone. Use Travel Joy, about to start using Turn, same. So to Jackie's point, Turn is a very new platform. I did attend the training. I absolutely love it. However, we need to do a training on it, right? So that you guys know. However, I have not signed up for my free trial yet because I have so many open proposals in Travel Joy and they don't have anything at the moment to go ahead and transfer those to Turn. And I don't have the time on my hands to manage two platforms. So that's my only hesitation. However, if you don't have many proposals right now, or maybe you don't have any, I highly recommend getting Turn and starting the free trial versus Travel Joy. And I'm sure someone will do a training on it, but I think it's a lot more seamless and easier than even Travel Joy is, right? And I'm a huge fan of Travel Joy, so that says a lot. You transition from Travefy to Travel Joy and it kind of sucked. Okay, so yeah, it's everyone's opinion, right? I think Travel Joy is really user friendly. It sounds like Perla likes Travefy. Oh, you use Traveljoy. Okay, good. So Perla likes Traveljoy. Yeah, Traveljoy has an easier easier interface, right? So interface essentially means like the way that you can navigate the platform, right? It's easy, not complicated where you have to think too hard. But that's a little food for thought, all right? Now, when I go to my Traveljoy, I'm going to show you guys what the proposal looks like, all right? Then we're going to kind of do a quick role play on it. I'll have one of you guys volunteer to be the client, and I will go ahead and present it. And then what we're going to do is I want you guys, if you have any proposals that you're currently working on, I want you guys to role play for me, and I will play the client and you play the agent. And basically I want you to run it how I just went through the proposal. All right. I don't have a script for this one as of right now. I will try and put something together for you guys, but you're going to see how easy it is and how you don't really need a script once you guys hear me go through it. So are we good so far? Right? Is everyone good so far? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. We're all on the same page. All right, cool. So when I go to this trip, all right, this is the proposal screen. All right, so this is an archive trip, an archive proposal that I gave. Kate is actually one of my really, really good friends. This was done back in September of last year. All right, so I sent this proposal. They ended up not going on a trip at all. Other things came up, but one thing that I learned in Traveljoy is once you create what they call a smart proposal and you convert it to an itinerary and you delete the other options, you don't really have the proposal anymore, right? So those options go away. And if there's another way, let me know. But essentially, in order to see the proposal and not have those options go away, I would convert it to a PDF and save it on your computer somewhere. Or B, I would just create a new itinerary, which that's going to take more time to do, right? So it's better off saving a PDF and downloading it just so you can kind of see and reference in the future what you've done so that, you know, you have things to reference for future clients and it saves a lot of time. So if I go ahead and click the proposal, it'll bring you guys to the edit screen. All right. So I'm going to show you guys the preview first, and we'll kind of talk through what it looks like, and then we'll go into the role play. All right. So this is the cover photo that I have just like naturally on. You can change that. What I've been doing recently is kind of changing it and adjusting it based on the location of where the client's going. This is something that I pulled up on ChatGPT. All right. I have a training on that on my YouTube. But basically, you know, I just let them know to act as a travel agent and that I have a client visiting X place. So in this case, it would be Jamaica. It's 2 friends, and to write a mini description that introduces the proposal. All right. So this is what Traveljoy naturally does for you. Once you type in the options, it puts together an overview, which is kind of nice, right? Now, this is better for the itinerary. It doesn't matter so much for the proposal, right? Because these are 3 options, but it's just a summary, all right? Now, one thing I will say is you need to be able to read your client, okay? So 1, did you collect a retainer deposit? If you collected a retainer deposit, I think it's okay to include the names of the hotels. If you did not, I would not, all right? You're giving people free advice. They're shopping. You didn't get their buy-in, and guess what? They're likely going to go take it and compare pricing, and then you're going to be upset, right? So if you don't know how to collect a deposit, make sure to look at my YouTube, connect with your mentor, ask them if they apply Nikki Lowe's method. And I know Perla has established some of the things, so she is your mentor. definitely lean into your mentors, right? Now, there will be mentors that don't apply my method, and that's absolutely okay too. However, I found a lot of success. All right. It's okay if you do things different than your mentor. You have to find what works for you. I've just eliminated a lot of the pain points for my agents, and now I'm sharing that to others to hopefully eliminate some of the mistakes that I've made in the past that have impacted me financially and somewhat emotionally, right? All right. So you're going to see, I have a section for flights. All right. So I only propose one flight if it's the same destination, right? So if they're going to Jamaica, they're going to one place only. I'm only going to choose one flight based on the preferences that I went over in the consultation to present. Okay. If they don't like it, then we can reevaluate it. But I'm not going to put, multiple different options of flights on here. And I've never had to, right? If anything, that's considered what I call tweaking, finding a different flight. But typically, if you ask the right questions in the consultation, you don't really need multiple flights. All right. So here's the flight. Now, what you're going to notice with my options is I don't have any pricing on my proposal. There's no pricing numbers. The only numbers on the proposal that would include pricing might be at the very bottom, and it'll give you a rough estimate pricing for travel protection and or transportation if it's not included in the package. Sometimes that's how you have to do things. If a client has a budget, say a 5K, and if you throw those extra add-ons and it goes above the 5K, it's probably best to just include it as an add-on option at the very end of the proposal. That way you give them the choice. All right. I always sell travel insurance. I've never had an issue. I talk it up. I'm actually going to start implementing something on my Travel Joy where before I even collect payment, after they choose an option, I'm going to make them either accept or deny the insurance. And it's going to go into a whole paragraph if they deny that they can potentially lose all the costs of the trip. I was talking to a friend last night and she did this. She's like, yeah, my client didn't want to pay. She didn't want to get insurance, but I left it off because to fit her 5K budget, I had to leave it off and give her the option. She's like, well, we'll proceed without it. So she's like, okay, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and send you something. Just go ahead and decline that. And then we'll go ahead and move forward with the down payment of your trip. Once she sent that over, it's this whole paragraph basically informing the client what they can lose if they don't get insurance. All right. And it kind of scares them, and it should scare them because you don't want that responsibility on you based on a choice that they make over a few $100s. All right. So you'll see how I address pricing in my role play. But I always give my clients a heads up from the very beginning. Hey, just so you know, you're not going to see any pricing because if you've been in the position of the client before, you're looking for the price and you're not paying attention to the option, right? You don't care about the experience. You're so focused on the price. This is how some people are, or most, that you don't really absorb what it's about. Okay. And then you get there and you're somewhat disappointed because yes, it fit the price. It did not fit the vision. All right. So here is option one. I'll go through this in the role play. You can see I include photos, right, of the RIU to give them a visual. I include what's included with the all-inclusive amenities, or if it's not, I'll let them know. If there's resort credits, any bonuses, that's the only dollar amount you want to put on here. Anything that is an advantage to them, which would be bonus or credits, right? And then I'll move on. So shared transport, this is a package, so it's included. I'm not going to put all the specifics and details of each option until they select one option, right? Because the details don't matter if they can't even visualize themselves with the basic stuff that I'm giving them, right? Option two, same thing, right? So I have photos, I have benefits, I highlight food, if that's something that comes up, resort credits. And then we move on to option 3, right? So here's option 3. You can also notate that I include the room type. Okay. And then again, more specifics of what that option looks like, credits, and shared. Now, like I mentioned, normally now moving forward, so this was September, it's now almost March. I will show you what I do for an add-on after we do the proposal role play. But I want to pause for a second, look at the chat, and kind of see where everyone's at. Are we on the same page so far? There shouldn't be too many questions because I haven't really gone into the role play, but I want to get a pulse. Are you guys learning something so far? Okay, cool. Yes, Jackie, never thought about leaving pricing off. That's great. Honestly, it's a game changer. All right, because you'll see how I worded it in the beginning that gets them excited. All right, you want to get the client so excited that they're just ready to book. And that's what I do. All right, I get them excited so that they can at least visualize themselves enough where we address the pricing at the very end. It's not in writing, but I do tell them, right? Hey, this is what this costs, okay, at the very end. Now, another thing. So sometimes the clients have such specific preferences that you don't have much option for fun, right? For fun research. It's very focused. You might not even 100% like every option, but you're showing them and you're giving them what they want based on your call. I had a proposal like that with a cruise a few weeks ago. The cruise is in 2 months. The client wanted to be in a place on her birthday, right? I think it's March 25th or April 25th. I forgot. They haven't booked it yet. They had a budget. They wanted to leave out of Orlando. There were a lot of specifics, all right? And the way that everything played out, it really didn't leave much room to give them what I would have chosen, right? So I gave them 3 options. I even said from the very beginning, this is an option for you, right? Option 1 is an option. I've been on this ship before. It is a nice ship. However, it's a little bit more outdated than the other ones. This is probably my least favorite option, right? It's okay to be transparent, but the best piece of advice I could give you is I want you to be so mentally bought into at least one idea that you just go hard and sell that option, all right? Make it sound so good, price aside, right? But just be so bought in to the option visually that the passion comes out when you're talking about it. All right, so Grace, option 1, below budget, 2 budget, option 3, a little bit above. So it varies, right? It really depends on what the client's budget is based on what you're finding. So I will always tell them, good, better, and best. Good is likely always within your budget. If it's not, before I even proceed with my research, I'll go ahead and let you know that we got to make some changes before I even continue my research. Option 2 is either within the budget or a little bit over. And option 3 may or may not be within the budget. However, it's going to have all the bells and whistles of what it is that you're looking for, that picture perfect vacation. All right. And those are based on price points. All right. So who wants to be the client going to Jamaica? Let me know in the chat. Who wants to be my volunteer? This is the fun part. You guys really just get to sit there and listen to me. Need 1 volunteer. Love it, Lisbeth. Love when my agents step up. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you guys the ability to unmute. Everyone, please stay muted. I only want Elizabeth to unmute herself. And again, I'll open up for questions at the very, very end, and then, the unmute, whatever can happen then. All right, Elizabeth. So go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I woke up late today, so I haven't had my protein shake yet. So, you're going to Jamaica. You're going
Okay.
with your best friend. Your best friend is a little bit more price conscious than you. Okay.
Okay.
But these are all within or around your budget. All right. Now, I don't remember off the top of my head which that is. Okay. We're going to wing that in the role play, but just have that as a background. All right. You guys are flying from Baltimore. You're huge Southwest Airline fans. You prefer nonstop if able.
Okay.
And that's really it. All right.
All right.
All right. So, hey, Lisbeth, how's it going today?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm good. It is absolutely freezing in Chicago. What's it like in Maryland?
About same.
Well, yesterday it was 71 degrees and today it's 27. So, I don't like to use the word bipolar, but that's absolutely Chicago's weather today.
I completely agree. Same over here.
Yeah, so I'm sure that you're probably visualizing this Jamaica trip and you're getting kind of excited.
I am. Me and her have been talking about it all day.
What are you most excited about?
I am most excited about just going out to the beach and having margaritas. Honestly, just drinking margaritas and having a great time.
Yeah, I love it. Everyone needs a little bit R&R, and I know you especially, you own your own event planning business, you work for Under Armour, and your schedule's pretty busy. I know Kate, she's a cop, so I know that you guys definitely need a margarita in your hand and zero worries. So we're going to dive in. Like I said during the consultation call, I'm going to give you three options of good, better, and best, right? So these
All
are
right.
all within or around your budget. You will see that there is no pricing for each option on your or on the proposal. Okay. I do that for a very specific reason. I address it at the very end. So we will go over it, but I want you
Okay.
to really visualize yourself in each option that we talk through. Okay, because at the
Okay.
very end, I want to know where you and Kate really see yourselves being. Does
All
that sound
right. So
good? Okay, awesome.
yes.
So, going over flights, these are the two flight times. I think I want to say this is the only nonstop there was from Baltimore at this time. I know that you're specific to Southwest. And you said that your dates are somewhat flexible, but you had to be back by the 14th and you needed to leave you wanted to leave after the 4th of December. So this is the sweet spot. The 6th through the 10th are the dates that I ended up going with. They seem the most cost effective based on the amount you allocated for the trip. So if these options work, great. If not, we can see what else is available. But overall, I think they're pretty good times. So we can jump into that at the end.
Okay.
Now, option one. All right. So option one is the Ryu Palace. Have you been to Ryu's before?
Not at all.
Okay. So very, very popular, right? They're a very large chain. Some of the nice benefits to Ryu are the fact that certain properties based on which property you stay at will give you access to the surrounding properties in the area. All right. Um, as far as this specific property goes, so if you stay at the Ryu Palace Jamaica, you'll also have full access to the Ryu Montego Bay and the Ryu Reggae, which is kind of
Mhm.
nice. It's like three resorts in one, right?
Right.
So looking at what's available to you. All right. I was able to propose a junior suite oceanfront option. Um, I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's a king bed, but I believe they also have two beds available. So it might just be a minor difference in pricing. But again, we can worry about that later. But if we're diving into the amenities, right? So you can kind of get a visual on the side of what that's going to look like for you. But it's all inclusive, right? So all meals, snacks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages are included, right? 24 hours a day. The nice thing about this option is the alcohol is premium branded, right? I don't have the specifics at the palm of my hand, but I know, knowing you guys, you just like knowing that it's a higher class of alcohol, not necessarily like top notch like Johnny Walker Blue, but it's up there, right? um,
Right.
your mini bar in your room and the liquor dispenser, those are refilled regularly. You have a safe in room. As far as entertainment and activities go, those are included. They have an entertainment program. We can pull up a calendar on that, as the time gets closer to see what really is going on. But absolutely, if you decide to go with this option, we can see what that event calendar looks like somewhat today, just to give you an idea of what that'll look like.
Okay.
So, activities, right? Kayaking, bodyboarding, snorkel gear. They have scuba tryouts. So, essentially, it's like a crash course of scuba. You get one option included or one time included for each of you, as well as the ReuFit program. So, specifically off the top of my head, not too sure what that entails, but it sounds like the gym, something along with the gym. It might even mean like a class or something included, right? Beach volleyball.
Right.
I know you guys like to be active. And then paddle boats. So those are kind of fun to have that option to be able to go out and really just take in the ocean without diving your whole or without getting your whole body wet.
Mm.
All right. So as far as the disco at the Rio Montego Bay, that's included. So I think that the disco is kind of like the nightclub. And again, you have to be 18 years because that's a drinking age in Mexico. So you're not going to see too many kiddos in there at all.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah, right. It's nice to be able to separate the kiddos. Those are great from time to time, but it's nice to have just an adult section and time. Wi-Fi is included, daytime entertainment for adults, live music and shows, turn down service. So what that really means is typically at least once a day, they'll come and they'll make your beds for you, or they will get your beds ready for bedtime. I know when I stayed at a resort, at least in Mexico, they did it 2 times a day. So when I left in the morning, they would make my beds. And then before I got back at night, they would go ahead and get the beds prepared for sleeping, taking all the pillows off and stuff. They have a water park, so if you guys want to, go on the water slides, you could do that. And the big thing with them is typically at all inclusives, you have a wristband that you have to wear for identification purposes.
Okay.
Now, as far as resort credits go, so this is one of the nice things. I really try to make sure that you guys got some sort of coupons that you could use on site. So you could see that there's a breakdown of what each of those look like. They are pretty specific on that, but it's nice to just have those options thrown in. And then as far as the air credit goes, so I did book this, or the options that I chose were through Southwest Vacations because they had $200 off instantly of air credits if you're staying more than 3 or 4 nights. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I could get you as many discounts as possible because I'm very protective over my clients' budget and pricing, and I want to make sure that you guys get the best bang for your buck.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
All right, so that's option one. Transfers are included in all the options that we go over to and from the airport. And then as far as option two goes, so the Iberostar Grand Hall, all right, another all-inclusive ocean view suite. As far as this hotel goes, So it's in a beachfront complex with 2 other hotels. All right. So it's specifically for adults and it provides butler service and select rooms to truly give you that ultimate luxury experience. So this will really allow you to disconnect and spoil yourselves. They have spa treatments available that you can enjoy in your suite, right in your room, or even on the shore. So sample local and international gastronomy. So the food is available at 5 restaurants and 4 bars, right? And they also have a swim up bar. So that's kind of fun. And then as far as uh, you know, the activities and stuff go, they have some famous actors, which I thought is kind of cool. Queen of England, or people that have visited these places, right? So Queen of England, Beyonce, Paul McCartney. That's kind of cool. Knowing that those pop stars and those actors have been here is just another added touch. As far as the benefits go, so it is an adults only complex, which for me was kind of the selling point, knowing that I'm just not going to see kids. I love them, I adore them. But when I'm on vacation, I just don't want to hear screaming children.
Right.
So that's nice. They have adult only swimming pools, obviously. And then you can enjoy any of the other swimming pools at the complex. So since there's 2, I'd have to look into it further, but something tells me the other 2 complexes might not be adult only, but you still have access to them.
Okay.
The Balinese beds, right? So to be able to lay out on those, I know when you and I went to Miami, we absolutely love just laying out on those big beds, and those are free of charge. I know we paid like $300 in Miami, so it's nice to have that included. And then full access to everything on site, mini bar, restock daily, snacks in the room, 24-hour room service is nice. I know some hotels only have it, during a certain period of time, but you have access to that 24 hours a day. And then breaking down some of the food options. So there's 5 a la carte restaurants, the buffet. There are 15 house wines from Spain. I know you guys are winos that are from Spain, the United States, Argentina, and Chile. And then in addition to that, there's 70 other wines to choose from. So you guys can really get your wine tour on.
Absolutely.
Room amenities. All right. So you guys have a large suite with a private balcony. It's nice to be able to just sit out on the balcony sometimes and soak up a cold drink from the mini bar, enjoy room service, and not have to worry about getting dressed or leaving the room. And then this one also has resort credits, right? So this is valid towards the Star Prestige package with specialized dining, spa, and more. So when you check in, they'll give you a breakdown of how you can allocate, or how the $800 will be allocated. Kind of like the option before, it breaks down, the dollar amount per each. You'll get that upon check-in.
Okay.
All right. Then you can kind of get a feel for the pictures, what that property looks like. This looks like it's a hibachi grill. So your sushi, your Asian cuisine. I know we're really particular to that. I don't gamble, but I know from time to time people like to do that. So that option's available. You also have the theater option. And then this is kind of what the room would look like as far as the inside. And the outside, it looks like they have like a little hatchet chair, big bathroom, the nice whirlpool. So that's also a great option. And then lastly, so we have the Grand Palladium Resort and Spa. I have you guys in a superior suite, private pool, oceanfront view. And as far as the resort goes, this is one that is ideal for families, couples, and groups of friends. So it is not an adult only. However, I believe they might have an adults only section. So we can look into that further. But as far as the experience goes, right? So this kind of just breaks down that most of the rooms have open terraces, they're roomy, as well as just other features on the property. They have a giant, an infinity pool overlooking the beach, which I know is my absolute favorite, to just be able to be in nice water that's not salty, but still have the view of the beach and the ocean. And then they also have a swim up par. As far as the resort activities and restaurants go, so you have windsurfing available, snorkeling, tennis, catamaran trip. I want to say this may be included. Again, I'd have to look into it further, but if not, it's really nearby and you would have the ability to do that on any of the options. It's just really if this is available and included in the option.
Okay.
It dives into a little bit deeper of what the spa include. You don't care too much about the kids club, but that's available. They have an infinity saloon bar that really is supposed to give you that cruise like feel while absorbing the views of the sea. As far as the cuisines go, right? So it looks like they have a lot of nice cuisine options as well, including a steakhouse. You have access to 4 different pristine beaches. And like I said, there are adults only pools. So that's nice. You'll have 8 a la carte restaurants and 3 international restaurants that will really be able to give you guys that access to different cuisines and experience the taste of international foods. And then there's 17 bars. So that's kind of nice, you know, depending on how many options you guys want. You are here, I believe, for 4 nights. So sometimes it's a make or break for people who are staying longer. They like more variety. However, with you staying 4 nights, maybe that is something that is something that you guys want to take advantage of, right?
Right.
They do have 24-hour room service. However, it looks like there is a charge, and it's $17 for 24 hours versus the service during the daytime. So it looks like they'll charge you that if it's between 10:30 p.m. and 11 a.m., which is kind of a bummer, but again, it's $17, so it is what it is. Now, room amenities. So you have the section that you guys in is an adults only section. As you can see, it's like very top notch. I really love the room. Looks very modernized compared to the other 2, which are
Yes.
still nice, but I always like that extra touch that makes me feel like I'm in a 5-star resort. It has the extra luxury feel. So this one, like I said, either king bed or 2 full beds, right? So we could figure that out. And then this is $1,500 in resort credits. So you'll get that, and the breakdown will be upon check-in. And that's really it. You know, these are the 3 options. I really like this one specifically because if you look at this, you have like your own little private pool. I mean, it's like a whole full-blown oasis.
Yeah, that is really nice.
Yeah, so looking at this was really the selling point for me. I like being in the action, but also being away from the action and really just being able to take in the experience and the ambiance with the people that I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we dive into pricing, where are we at? What options really stood out to you?
Option 3 for sure.
Okay, so what do you like most about option 3?
I like that it has, even though it is like family oriented, I like that it also has like an adult section as well. And that selling point, like you said, with the pool in the back of the suite, that's also really nice as well. And I like all the a la carte options as well. So I think that my friend would also like this option as well.
Okay, awesome. So, If we're diving into pricing, I will say that the last option is my personal favorite option as well. However, it is a little bit over budget. So I know that your budget was 5K. I also know that Kate is very specific to budget. So you will have to sell her on this. I am happy to hop on a call with her as well. I know she was unable to make it today, but I'm happy to do the selling for you. However, it's really going to come down to you convincing her on the price, right? It's not
Right.
too much over. So I know your budget was around 4,000 for 4 nights, including everything. This one is around 4,500, so it's about $500 over. However, you get all those added amenities, right? So you get
Right.
the extra, you get the pool, which is a huge selling point that you don't get with the others. You get that 5-star feel, um, as well as the 17 different restaurants and bars. I mean, that is huge for me. So, where are your thoughts as far as that go?
Well, that's completely fine with me, but like you said, we'll just have to discuss it with her as well, and hopefully we can come together and figure out something.
Okay. What would be your the second best option for you out of the three?
The adults only one, the second option,
Okay. And what really drew you to that?
because it's adults only, of course.
All right.
And overall, it looks really nice. Yes, along with all the wine options.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one was a little bit close to your budget, right? I want to say it was around 4,100, so about $100 over.
Okay.
Um, Equally as nice, right? It is adults only, and then you also have access to, I want to say, the other beaches near the resorts. So
Yes.
at least you have options, and some of the big personalities stayed there as well. So I think that's very telling.
Yes.
So between those two, definitely talk to Kate. When would you like to connect next?
Let's reconnect in 2 more days from now.
Okay. Just so you know, prices are not guaranteed until they're booked. All right. So as far as the down payment goes, today, it is, the trip is coming up in 2 months. So the deposit's going to be greater. Airfare is included. So while it might not be in full today, I want to say the down payment is around $3,000 for each of them. And then the remaining will be due in the next 2 weeks. So keep that in mind.
Alrighty, will do.
Okay. And then as far as touching base, in 2 days, what does your calendar look like on Thursday around this time to go ahead and lock everything in?
I'll be free after 4, so we can do anywhere between 4 to 4:30.
Okay, great. So I do have time available on my calendar. 4 p.m. Eastern is 3 p.m. Central. So why don't we go ahead and lock it in? If you want Kate to be on that call as well, please have her on it. If she has any additional questions, we can address it then or even before. But let's go ahead and make that a plan. I will have to refresh the pricing that morning because, like I said, until it's booked, it's not guaranteed. So please be mindful of that.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. And then I'm going to go ahead and send you the invoice for those two options just so you can kind of walk through it with Kate. And then we can go ahead and just get that taken care of on Thursday at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m.
All right, that sounds good, and I'll go over everything with her.
Cool. All right. I'll talk to you guys Thursday.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, you guys. So that's it. Okay. We have about 10 more minutes. That is essentially the proposal. So, throw it in the chat. Don't unmute yourselves yet, but throw it in the chat. How did this go? How did you think it went? Perla, are you doing this with your client over the phone or Zoom? You could do it either, right? I do it over the phone and it works just great. However, I don't think Zoom is a bad idea because you can really see someone's reaction. So I think either or. But you guys never send the proposal before you get on the phone. All right. So I'll always have a proposal time. I will not send it until I hear their voice on the phone. And then I will say, hey, Lizbeth, after we do our little small talk in the beginning, I'll say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and send you the proposal right now. Let me know when you get that. And we'll go ahead and walk through it together. There might be an awkward silence or two. They might not let you know. So in a minute or two, you might have to check in and say, all right, did you get that? I did. All right, do you have it open? I do. All right, let's start from the top, right? Just so you know, mention the pricing, yada, 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 and then dive into it. So I want to open it up for questions. We can do a little bit of a crash role play after. I do have a call about 30 minutes after too. So at 2:30, I do have a consultation call, but I'm happy to do a beginning role play with you guys. However, I think it's a good idea, like I said with my consultations, to do your role plays in a mirror in front of yourself or record yourself. It's very cringy. I will admit that, but the more you do it, the better you get. And then more money in your pocket, right? The goal is to get you guys locked and loaded. And then once you collect that down payment, right? It doesn't need to be the thing in full. Once you collect the down payment for the trip, you get to collect the remainder of your travel planning rate. So for me, with multi-cities, so this is independent from this, but I always book the airfare first before I even go into hotel options. We come up with an itinerary. I book in the long haul first, and upon booking the long haul, I collect the remainder of that travel planning rate. So I'm already paid for it. And then I get to do more research. But based on what we covered today, go ahead and type in the chat. Where are we at? What questions do you have? Feel free to unmute yourselves. In the event they want to make changes to what you reviewed with them, do you allow for that or charge a fee? So that's a good question, Perla. It really depends, right? So I just updated my contract, and I always say you get 3 options with fine tuning aside. So I think it depends on the complexity of the changes. You get to determine that. With the contract and the agreement they should sign in the beginning has that noted. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pull that up to show you where I have it notated specifically. And while I'm doing that, go ahead and type in the chat who else has questions, whether you've done a proposal or not before. If you don't have questions, let me know. I just want to get a pulse for where everyone is at. How did you like it? Feeling good so far? No questions? Love it. All right. I also, if you guys don't know how to do Travel Joy or set up your templates, I have a YouTube on this. So just go to my Travel Joy CRM playlist and you'll see specifics. But if I go to my terms and conditions, the only thing I don't like about Travel Joy is you have to update the fee. There's no way to just like change it based on each person. You kind of have to update the terms and conditions every time if you change the fees. But if we go into the specifics of the contract, right? So I'm collecting a retainer deposit. I go into specifics. I go into specifics of like electronic transfer methods. I do allow that because you guys, the nice thing about like Zelle or Venmo is you don't have to pay processing fees. Like that is essentially under the table money that you don't have to claim. So that's always nice. Now I have it noted, if they choose not to proceed with the booking, they don't get that money back, right? So say we have a call in 2 days and it doesn't happen. Okay, I give them 7 days, a 7-day window. And if they don't lock it in within 7 days, guess what? It's not a credit anymore because that's going to require more time and research. Those options might not be available and you're not going to take the hit for it, right? So it includes 3 options. If the client does not like the options presented, the company may be able to provide a 4th option without incurring additional costs, as long as the destination or destinations remain the same as discussed in the initial consultation. In the event a revision takes place, the destinations must remain the same as the initial without additional fees. All right. So say your client comes back, oh, I'm thinking I want to see what Mexico looks like. No problem. It's going to be it's going to be an additional $100 for me to give you 3 options for Mexico. Because again, you're not going to take that hit. Okay. And in the event you provide them 3 options for Mexico and you have 3 options for Jamaica, the credit only goes towards 1 option based on the destination that they choose. They're going to lose out on the other one. Okay. If they have a fit about that, they can go find someone else. All right. So look, used in the form of a credit, if the client chooses to forego the proposed options or does not book within 7 days, the retainer deposit credit will be at the company's discretion. So you get to choose. Then I talk about my travel planning rate. It's non-refundable if the client chooses to revise or cancel the trip after the down payment. Where is it? It's non-refundable regardless. Okay. And then as far as the purpose, I go into that. After the proposal meeting has occurred, I'll talk about the minimum deposit. If they don't book within 5 days of the proposed meeting, I can request additional fees. All right. So yes, they'll still get the credit within 7 days. However, they don't book within 5 days, it might be a little bit more too. So you get to choose if you want to change that, but that's my policy. I'll communicate it to the client if I do, incur additional fees. But again, you guys, I have everything in writing. You don't need to explain this to people over the phone, because guess what? They sign the contract before you even do the research. I've had people come back, even my South America client came back and try to say, oh, well, you didn't let me know that we needed vaccines. Okay, well, the contract did. So it's 2 pages. Did you not read the contract? It's not my responsibility. All right. So that's a little bit about that. Now going through the other questions. Do you ever run into a client that ends up ghosting you even after? Absolutely, Perla. I have. And it's people that generally. That's happened to me twice now. So that's why I always like to sell the people I don't know. And that's why most of my clients are people that I don't know, because sometimes people that think they can take advantage of you, and it's a reality check. Same thing goes. All right. I love this focus on the experience. I have to practice for this for sure. Love it, Grace. I liked it and all the pictures. I like how they flowed with what you were talking about. Yeah, you guys. And the reason part of the proposal, I read directly from it. All right. You can see how I take bits and pieces, but it's not like the reason you have to think of it like a PowerPoint presentation with just some added touches that are at a huge advantage to you, because you're reading directly what you put on there, right? And you're just taking bits and pieces and just talking through it. All right. No questions. You're doing a proposal for a cruise at 1:30 and you're nervous. She's a family friend, so you think it'll be okay, but it'll be your first booking. You don't want to mess it up. Girl, you're not going to mess it up. You can't mess it up, okay? You can only learn from it. So take it as a learning lesson. Be confident in what you have to say. Be confident in what you put together. And if they don't like it, it's their loss. It's not your loss. All right. So don't take it personally. You're welcome, Ruth. This was gold. Love it. Do you have a set rate for your service fee? For example, 50 per person? Yeah, that's a good question, Victoria. It's hit or miss, right? Depending on the complexity of the research. So Cruises for me come very, very easily. So depending on number of rooms, number of people, that'll vary. Usually if it's one room and it's like a couple, I'll do $300. If it's two rooms, usually it'll be, you know, between $300 and $500, depending on the client read that I get. If it's multiple rooms, multiple people, say it's a group of 8, I might do $100 per person. It really just depends. This is a dumb question, but how do you apply the retainer deposit credit? Yeah, I'll show you guys in a second. That's really just on the invoice, Perla. Are those terms and conditions somewhere you can use? Yeah, I have a I have a document section in Google. I actually just have to update it. So, because I just revised this like 2 days ago. So I'll go ahead and throw that. I'm going to upload the video to YouTube right now, and then I'll throw that on the Travel Knowledge 2.0, and then I'll include the link to the terms and conditions. And then all you'll have to do is you'll just have to make sure you essentially, like it'll say company name. You'll need to replace the things on the contract that like don't have specifics, right? So my best piece of advice would essentially be to take this that I give you and then go to ChatGPT. And then, so this will say company name, right, on my document, but I'm going to say, take these terms and conditions below, change the company name to Perlux. This is all I know, Perlux Travels. I'm probably getting it wrong, but that's Perla's. The state to, let's say Florida, and the retainer deposit amount to, let's say 200, and the travel planning rate to $100 per person. So see how it'll do it for you for Perlux Travel. You'll just want to read through it and make sure that it does what you're asking for it to do. But the reason I said state of Florida is because when I get towards the bottom, it talks about legalities. If there's anything legal, it'll take in the place that you reside in, right? So, or your company. Like my company now is an LLC. It's established in the state of Florida. I live in Illinois. So anything legal wise will happen in the state of Florida, right? But that's how I would essentially do that. All right. Any other questions, my friends?
Can you show really quick, Nikki, how to do the retainer
You're right.
deposit, like how you did the credit on
Yeah.
the invoice?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go to a different trip. All right, so let's go to Gina's. The nice thing about the authorizations are that you can keep adding to it as time goes on. So if I look at the invoice and I preview it, it's always going to be the top line item. So you see how I have a negative symbol? Now you guys have to remember that the credit is towards your travel planning rate. Okay. So if your travel planning rate is only $100, okay, and you have a retainer deposit of 100, this should say 100, and then essentially it's zero. You don't get to collect more money. Now, if you say travel planning rate is an additional $100, right? So I'll collect $100 upon down payment, to get started on my research. Upon down payment, I will collect an additional $100. That would mean your travel planning rate would be 200 because you say additional. and then the 100 will be deducted, right? So then really you're only charging an additional 100. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't realize that you were doing it. I was trying to figure out how the heck you were doing a credit. Like I was thinking you were doing the credit towards the total trip amount, but it
No,
makes sense that you're applying it towards your planning fee.
yeah, and it only can be, right? You can't deduct it
Right,
from like suppliers. So
right.
this is the way that works. I'll show you like when I charge the travel planning fee, on the invoice it'll say my travel planning fee is 100, right? So I or 500 on this one. So I would say $100 retainer deposit, a down upon down payment, I'll collect an additional $400. Now, I only charge them $400, right? That's why I word it the way that I do. So if I go into my Square, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. Any other questions while I'm waiting for this stupid thing to load? You guys have me here. About 5 more minutes.
This is probably off topic, Nikki, but was it just an example that you said, or did you say that you ended up doing an LLC for your business?
No, I did. I went through
Oh,
an
you did.
attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I have an attorney that established it and did it all for me. I'm a part of this like mastermind program with Tony Robbins and
Hmm.
Graziosi. And one of the deals when I signed up in December is they would pay the attorney fees to get my company established.
Cool. Okay. All right. I'll probably be messaging you privately.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind with an LLC, you guys, I don't know if Archer covers errors and omissions insurance once you're established as your own company. So that might be something that you have to look into separately. I still have to look into that right now. But I don't think it's that much. My friend Marie has an LLC and she's doing it. I know with IntelliTravel, it has to be separate because she's with IntelliTravel.
Yeah, it's they don't cover it. I just found this out recently for an agent that wanted to do it under her current LLC. You would need to get your own errors and emissions. But per Ron, because Sarah had looked into it for me, I think it's maybe like 200 or something roughly for the year or something. So it
Yeah, it's
wasn't
not
anything like
much.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is taking forever. Square always takes forever. Let me see if I can stop sharing the screen and it'll work. I think it's just like the memory that it takes. But essentially, it's really just like where you collect the retainer deposit, you'll do the same thing, except you'll take that additional amount, right? The 400, and you'll just do 400, assuming that the credit was already applied, right? The negative stuff shows on the invoice. However, when you're manually typing it in, it's a different story. So I think my thing just loaded. Let me see if I could show you. All right, so let me share my screen. All right, so let me know when you guys can see my screen. Okay, so I'm up on my take payment page. If you don't know how to get to this part, you guys, my YouTube shows it. But once I'm under here, right, it has my company. Okay, my travel planning rate's 500. I already took the retainer deposit of 100 upon finishing my initial consultation. I would not show any deductions on here. I would literally just put 400 and instead of it saying retainer deposit, non-refundable, I would say travel planning rate, non-refundable. And then this time I type their card in manually. The first time I always send a link, but this time it's manual. And then you hit charge and that's that. It's easy as that. Brenda, can you send me info on that, please? Brenda sells arrows and omissions for $47 a month. So I'm curious to see info on that. So yeah, if you could send me that via Facebook, I'll send you guys my Facebook link as well. Also, feel free to let me know how your proposals are going, right? You can message me. I had a proposal today. Let's celebrate your wins together. If it didn't go as well as you thought, let me know. I can kind of give you some coaching and feedback on that. But we're all here to support each other. That's what you guys have to remember. We are here for the wins and the losses. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. Anyone else has any other questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, go make some money. See you guys later. Just so you know, Wednesdays moving forward, I will be doing midweek mindset refresh on Wednesdays and business hours on Wednesdays versus Mondays. And that calendar should be launching in the next day or two. So keep an eye out for it. All right. See ya.